You're watching Al Jazeera. A reminder of our top stories this hour. The Kremlin says it's halted its participation in the Black Sea grain deal. Moscow says its conditions for extending the deal had not been fulfilled. It was due to expire later on Monday evening. All right, well, let's look into the story a bit more, because this grain deal was hugely vital, not only for those in the region, but for many around the world who are dependent upon Ukraine, one of the biggest grain producers in the world. Let's speak now to Rob McBride for more on this. And Rob, as I was saying there, the Kremlin indicating that it would not throw its weight behind this all-important deal. Tell us more.
Yeah, that's right. There has been some speculation about whether the Kremlin would renew this deal. It has been reluctant to. It only gave a 60-day renewal, which expires today, Monday, instead of the usual 4 months renewal period that it was meant to give. And it has just announced in the last half hour or so that from today, Monday, this deal will cease to exist. It has said that it will return to the deal once conditions affecting Russia are fulfilled. Now, we don't know quite what they mean by that, but it is known that Russia has been pushing in return for renewing this deal some kind of sanctions relief on the sanctions imposed on it. In return, there's been talk about possibly allowing one of its banks to have access to the international money transfer system, the so-called SWIFT system. But so there have been negotiations going on behind the scenes. They say that this is not connected at all to the attack on the Kerch Bridge, that Vladimir Putin, the Russian president, has already outlined the problems with the deal beforehand. But that is the latest news. They said that this deal will not now be renewed.
Rob, what do we imagine the likely reaction from the Ukrainians will be around this decision?
Yeah, it's interesting. It's probably mixed reactions. Yes, I think everybody accepts that this deal has been extremely important in getting millions of tons of Ukrainian food out to world markets. Remember, this time last year, we were in pretty dire straits. We were talking about price hikes of around 30% in the cost of food, grain on the world markets, the impact of that on famine in different parts of Africa, and so on. Since then, the food prices have come down somewhat. The food inflation, we know, is still a problem. But farmers here in Ukraine have found other ways of getting their grain, their harvest out to world markets, using land borders, using ports on the Danube River instead of going across the Black Sea, which needs Russian permission. And also, the number of ships that have been allowed under this grain deal have fallen dramatically to only, in some respects, a couple of ships a day. The Russians have been accused by the Ukrainians of dragging out the inspections on these ships and really restricting the number. So a lot of farmers here in Ukraine have found different ways of getting their food out to world markets. And I think a lot of the farmers we've been talking to in the southern part of Ukraine are also concerned about the Russians putting on unacceptable conditions for them renewing this deal. So there is, I think, a mixed reaction here in Ukraine.
All right, Rob, many thanks for that. Rob McBride on that breaking news that Russia has decided it will not throw its weight and support behind renewing that all-important grain deal from Ukraine. Thanks, Rob.